And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
A little less conversation, a little more action, please. All this aggravation ain't satisfaction in me. A little more fight, a little less fun. A little less fight, a little more spark. Close your mouth and open up your heart, and baby, satisfy me. Satisfy me, baby.
Yes, satisfy me here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. Now, we're on the line with Bernard von NotHaus. And, Bernard, where are you calling me from? Where are you at right now?
It was a secret location, Ernie.
Of course.
I'm just kidding you. I'm actually here real near Statesville, North Carolina, right where I was convicted.
Well, you know, tell me, what was that brought attention to the U.S. government after they determined what you were doing was legal? You weren't violating any laws up until when? I mean, what is it? What was their accusation? What was the case that they were building against you, and why?
Well, just a small technicality. We never have violated any laws. But what drew their attention was in 2006, there was an FBI agent by the name of Romagnuano who was investigating domestic terrorism and came across the Liberty Dollars and basically got his nose out of joint and started investigating the Liberty Dollars. So from 98 to 06, that's 8 years that we were out here manufacturing. We were doing interviews. I was traveling everywhere, appearing at your events and dozens of other events, talking about returning American value one Liberty Dollar at a time. So
what was at that time, what was the amount of silver you had either warehoused or represented in the market by paper or in circulation as coin or as medallions?
Well, I would guess it was somewhere between $15 and $20 million.
Okay, now that was then. I mean, does that mean it's $40 million now?
No, actually, we're probably well over 60, somewhere between $60 and $70 million is what's out there now.
Wow. Okay, so you came to the attention up. All right. So
the FBI.
Okay, and they
started investigating the Liberty Dollar. And
yeah, but based on what? This agent has to go to someone. I mean, he'd say domestic terrorism. You know, why? I mean, it's a threat because of what? Al-Qaeda's trading in Liberty Dollars? I mean, what was their rationale? I mean, it's just to give him, it's an easy sell for him to, keep doing a job that's not that hard, and it's one guy, and it's pretty, I mean, I can see how the man works. But the point is that he had to sell it to his boss somehow. And I'm wondering what it was that he was going, this is a threat because of what?
That's the big question. There is no threat. There is no violence. And as you know, I've been classified as a unique terrorist. And the reason I'm a unique terrorist is because for you to be guilty of terrorism, there must be some element of violence. There's been never any violence whatsoever. Matter of fact, we talked about the peaceful evolution of a value-based currency. There's been no violence. And so for me to be cast as a terrorist means that the government is reaching to morph my conviction into basically the ability to identify anybody as a unique terrorist so they could brand you or I or anybody else as a terrorist.
No, unique. I mean, they just, threw a new adjective in there just to cover more people. I mean, they just, because they can.
That's right. They have actually morphed the phrase terrorism to include anybody who speaks out against the United States government.
Well,
that's alarming.
That's a lot of people. So now we're going. They've decided that they've convinced their superior that they can continue the investigation, and sooner or later there had to have been some communication with you, a bang on the door, or as I recall, the Justice Department said, "Hey, we want you to stop whatever it was that they were telling you to stop." What was that about?
Well, we had a stop along the way. What happened was that Agent A, Andrew Romano, Agent A, he happened to be in Asheville, North Carolina, and Asheville, North Carolina was one of the three biggest, most successful centers for Liberty Dollar. So he went out and he found, wow, there's lots of Liberty dollars here in Asheville. Merchants are using it. People like it. And he got his nose out of joint, started the investigation. And as an outgrowth of that investigation, a year later, in '07, the United States Mint issued a warning saying that use, not possession, distribution, sales, or anything else, use of the Liberty dollar was illegal. That was the beginning. That was the initial salvo in our direction.
Okay, define use. Did they define what use meant?
Use means using it in commerce. In other words, I took this silver Liberty or this paper currency out and I buy a six-pack of beer with it.
Okay, so they're calling, okay, so that's use. Now, they didn't say barter or, private transaction. They're saying, I'm not even sure the difference. I mean, if I'm using it and I go to a retailer, how does he define use? That normally he doesn't take anything but legal tender is defined by the government, or?
No, not at all.
Well, I need to know what use meant. I mean, you went through the trial, man. I know they said use means something. I mean, if I go down and I use silver in transactions a lot. I mean, we go buy goats, we get chickens, we trade for, work with people to do work around the place. I use silver all the time. So, I mean, would that be illegal as opposed to what they charged you with, and what would be the difference?
Well, the difference is that you're using a nondescript silver round, for example. So this is obviously barter. In our particular case, we're encouraging people to use Liberty dollars as a private voluntary barter currency. But this particular round that we distributed, a Liberty dollar, had a denomination on it, or what would be called an MSRP, a suggested manufactured retail price. So if you were using rounds, no problem. If you're using Liberty dollars, that's what they said was illegal.
Okay, because it had a denomination on there of dollars.
That would be the summation of their case, yes.
Okay, so then they segued that into convincing a jury that it was counterfeit then?
They convinced the jury. Now, you've seen some Liberty dollars, right, Ernie?
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at one.
The silver ones, right? Okay.
I got Sierra. Go get me that silver stuff. I have a paper one in front of me and some silver in my top drawer. She's going to go get that one and a bunch of other silver. One thing on the paper while she's doing that, it says at the bottom left of the $1 negotiable warehouse receipt, it says $20 sign 20 silver base. What does that mean?
Well, what it means is that this is probably going to be way more involved than what we can get into. But basically, I had designed a method whereby the Liberty dollars could be revalued so that it would be in sync with the underlying commodity. In this particular case, it says silver base, so the commodity is silver. Obviously, Ernie, when we got started, silver was at $5 an ounce, so we had $10 silver base. But you can't issue a $10 silver base certificate, which is a warehouse receipt now, when silver is $10. You can't buy something for $10 and have it manufactured and distributed for $10. That doesn't work, you know. You don't get your airtime for free, right? So I had to design, as the monetary architect, I had to design a methodology whereby the Liberty dollar would be revalued at a higher base, hence the $20 silver base, and then it moved up to the $50 silver base. Okay, and so what that meant that if you look on the back, and I don't know if it's a $1 certificate, if it's a $1 certificate, it says on the back that it is for 1/20th of an ounce of silver, because it's $20 base. If you had a $10 base, it said that it was 1/10 of an ounce of silver.
Okay, so the one, so I see what you made. It's a 20th of an ounce. It could be a $10 silver base at the bottom left, so your $1 paper would be valued differently, right?
1/10 of an ounce.
All right, I got it. We'll get more details. When we come back, we need to make sure that we know where we're at now and what's going to happen to Bernard. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence.